Welcome to the Grand Theft World podcast hosted by grandtheftworld.com. This is episode 57. This is all watched over by Machines of Loving Genocide. That title comes from an Adam Curtis documentary, all watched over by Machines of Loving Grace, about cybernetics and ecology and the New World Order. We're going to learn a little bit about that tonight during our intermission, the imperial origins of ecology.
By the late 1960s, what had happened was that our modern idea of nature, the ecosystem, and cybernetic theories about computers had fused together. Out of it had come an epic new vision of how to manage the world without the old corruption of power. It was a vision that seemed to be different from all past political attempts to change the world, because it was based on the natural order.
We regard the MIT report as an extraordinarily important initial pioneering effort. It's opening up a great new field of research on the world as a system.
The Club of Rome published a book called The Limits to Growth, which laid out Forrester's world model and its frightening conclusions. It was a bestseller, and it transformed the debate about the environment. Because Forrester's model offered a way of conceptualizing the problem that seemed to be scientific and therefore neutral. His vision of the world as one interconnected system seemed to transcend politics and the petty interests of nations.
But before we can get to that, we're going to have to cover Fauci and how Lord Fauci, he's now the science. It's not even like he's just the science. He should be revered. He shouldn't be questioned. It's like a religion. You need a leap of faith, and then everything happens and flows from science. I mean, Fauci, he's like the merger of science and religion in one person personified. It might be a calling of the Bible. If we could check out that.
Anybody who's looking at this carefully realizes that there's a distinct anti-science flavor to this. So if they get up and criticize science, nobody's going to know what they're talking about. But if they get up and really aim their bullets at Tony Fauci, well, people could recognize there's a person there, there's a face, there's a voice you can recognize, you see him on television. So it's easy to criticize. But they're really criticizing science because I represent science. That's dangerous. To me, that's more dangerous than the slings and the arrows that get thrown at me. I'm not going to be around here forever, but science is going to be here forever. And if you damage science, you are doing something very detrimental to society long after I leave. And that's what I worry about. I should be prosecuted. I'd have to laugh at that.
And then we'll move into the Omicron omni fears and this one small thing, the Omicron variant of a virus, one small thing that they want everyone to focus on, maybe not to hypnotize you too much, but maybe to hypnotize you though. Maybe that's the thing that hypnotizes people, a mass of people like really focused on one small thing. We'll be checking that out.
WBNS out of Columbus posted, the World Health Organization says the global risk from the Omicron variant of the coronavirus is very high based on early evidence, and it could lead to surges with severe consequences.
The new fear-mongering that is going on, of course, from the science himself, is that a scary new variant has emerged, so you need to go back into your huddle at home.
In a world fatigued by waves of COVID-19, now renewed fear.
Alarming.
In South Africa, scientists identifying a troubling new variant of the virus that is dominating infections here.
A variant of serious concern, which is now driving this spike in numbers.
More than 30 mutations, say scientists, in the spike protein alone. It's a worrying sign.
Okay, just so you see, right now we're live on CNN. There is what?
Linda Tripp.
What looks like looks like the giant who would catch the. I caught it for the Fraggle, mommy.
It's definitely a Fraggle rock.
You know what I'm talking about? The giant. Someone bring that up from the control. I caught a Fraggle, mom. Talking about how the very high risk that Omicron poses. Then I'll continue with my segment. Let's see what
it's the WHO.
Yeah, WHO.
Yeah.
That we don't like the look of.
Trustful.
But
can trust these people.
We don't have enough information about whether it's more transmissible, whether it's going to cause more severe disease, and critically, is
You
it
just
able
said
to
poses
escape?
very high risk.
So what?
So the lower count is poses, yes, we believe this variant poses very high risk. Oh, in what way? Well, the ways we don't know are whether it's more transmissible or more deadly. So in what way do you know? Shut up, I am the science love. So this is the issue
It's a good
right
guess.
now. I realize what the science is. When they say, meaning the dogmatic scientist, the Fauci says, I don't know. I will say this. I don't know. There are some things that we know, but I don't know at all. When Fauci says, I don't know, people say, well, he doesn't know, but let's do what he says.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
He says he doesn't know, but then gives a prescription that is followed to the letter. Whereas a lot of other scientists say, well, we don't know this, but we do know this. And so we know, for example, that the virus still transmits with people with the vaccine. It doesn't seem to be actually lowering overall caseloads in many places with high vaccination rates. So lockdowns and a lot of these protocols don't seem to be effective. So we know that. And then this is what we don't know about this new variant. Whereas when you have Fauci says, I don't know anything about that or this or any of it, but this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, it's like, no, they came in with the sky is falling. Oh my God, there's a new variant. Oh, okay. How severe is it? Well, we don't know. Is it going to kill more people? We really don't know. Is it more transmissible? We really don't know. Has it had an impact on South Africa yet? Well, not really.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, they're saying now boosters, right? Vaccine and boosters are synonymous because you're not really vaccinated without a booster.
That's true.
So I understand they're saying everyone needs to get vaccinated and boosted because obviously places with the highest vaccination rates have the lowest caseloads, right?
Of course. I would think so, yeah.
It should bear out.
So let's look at that. The UK, 80% fully vaccinated. They've had a 291% increase in cases since January.
What?
Singapore, 92% fully vaccinated. They've had a 347% increase in cases since January 2021.
I don't believe numbers.
That's with canes, though.
Ireland,
with canes.
yes.
Yeah.
Ireland, 91% of 18 and older fully vaccinated. 482% increase in cases since January.
Wow.
Gibraltar,
With all that alcohol, no germ should live in that body.
yeah, I would think so. With Gibraltar, which isn't a country by itself, and I'll get to Vermont as a state as well, over 100% of adults fully vaccinated, over 100% because many of them have boosters, the way they measure this stat. They have a 224% increase since January 2021. All references are available at louderwithcrowder.com. I want to be clear, some of these places have the highest caseloads ever, but that shouldn't be required to say the vaccines don't have the intended effect in reducing caseloads. Some of them just have a multi-100% increase, but it's not the highest week ever. In some of these places, it's at its highest point ever when a majority of the population are vaccinated. Let's be really clear about that, okay? Don't want to oversell it. I still think a 292% increase is not a mundane detail, Michael. Okay, let's look at Vermont. 73% fully vaccinated, the highest in the United States, a 531% increase in cases since January 2021. It currently has the 5th highest infection rate in the country with 61 per 100,000. Let's compare that to West Virginia, lowest vaccination rate at 42%. They've had a 228% increase since January 2021, a 46 cases per 100,000. The point is here, it's gone up in some places where they've been unvaccinated, but it's gone down in some places where they haven't been vaccinated. Overwhelmingly, if you just go right now to Worldometer and you look up, cross-reference yourself, countries with the highest vaccination rates, and you have to exclude some places like UAE because it's really a tourism destination, or like Cuba because you don't get accurate statistics. But go through the top 20 and tell me you do not see a direct match with the highest vaccination rates and the highest caseloads.
We're also going to go into Dr. Zelenko's latest words. We're going to hear some really earth-shaking, belief-shaking words from someone who pioneered early treatments for the ongoing pandemic plague that's out there. Dr. Zelenko from New York.
And so this is not a joke. This is really happening. This is World War III. This is Hitler and Stalin on steroids with weapons of mass destruction. And the only reason why it's happening is because people don't realize it's happening. Wake up. Take your kids out of school. Take your kids and homeschool them. According to the WHO, a few weeks ago, they published a paper. If your kids are in school, that's implied informed consent, and they could be vaccinated without you being told because you could have prevented them from coming to school. So in other words, the fact that you send your kids to school, it empowers the school and the government to inject them with this poison. So not only are the souls of our children being assaulted in the public school system through the debauchery and ungodly teachings, but now their bodies will be assaulted as well. Right, so if you look at supposed Omicron effects, it supposedly causes myocarditis. What a joke. We know that the vaccine has destroyed the hearts of young people. You see all these athletes dropping dead, and now what they're trying to do is deflect the vaccine side effects and blame it on the new variant that the actual vaccines caused. And what's interesting, by the way, is I have zero fear of the new variants. And simply, if you understand the biology, all the new variants are mutations in the spike protein, changes the three-dimensional structure of the spike protein, makes the new variant more elusive, let's say, to the immune system, and this way the virus can get inside the cell. So what? The treatment that I've been advocating for blocks RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, which basically is the common pathway for all the variants. All the variants use the same pathway to reproduce. So if you block RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, you shut down viral replication of all the variants, including Omicron. So who cares? You just have to use common sense, use early intervention, use prophylaxis, stay away from the poison death shot, and you'll be okay.
We're going to kick it off tonight with Luke Rudkowski. He's going to bring us latest update. You might hear a little something about George Soros buying off some DAs. Nothing to see there. He's a philanthropist. He's freedom oriented. He's interested in creating open societies. I think we should maybe trust the billionaire and not listen to Luke because he's just a guy in his trailer reporting the news. Or maybe we should listen to Luke, the guy in the trailer, about the billionaire who's investing all sorts of money. But there's more to be learned there. Let's go ahead and kick it off with Luke Rudkowski of wearechange.org and bestpoliticaltshirts.com.
The Daily Mail just wrote a very interesting piece about a beady-eyed billionaire political string puller and influencer, Mr. Suru, which for the sake of this video, we are going to be calling Mr. Beattie, as the Daily Mail has connected Mr. Beattie to a network of woke district attorneys that he personally bankrolled in major American cities, which of course are dealing with massive chaos because of those specific political appointments, which saw Mr. Beattie bankroll to the tunes of millions of dollars. And whether it's Chicago, where gang violence and homicides is becoming the new norm, we're finding out that Juicy Smollett's bestie, Kim Fox, was given $2 million by Mr. Beattie. And in Philadelphia, the district attorney there, where murder has almost doubled, was given $1.7 million, supporting, of course, their re-election campaigns, which, of course, puts him in a political position which allows Mr. Beattie to implement a lot of his policies on the local level. Now, of course, Philadelphia and Chicago aren't the only cities impacted by this billionaire influencing local politics. It's also, of course, the local DA in Los Angeles and all throughout the United States in major American cities, as he has literally delved out millions of dollars, which, according to many, have been having an absolutely demonstrable effect on the lives and the quality of life for many people living in the place where Mr. Beattie implements his policies.
This is my view when I do the show here, okay? I'm going to take you over here to the other room. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, it looks good. See it perfectly.
That's a pamphlet from the NATO meeting. George Soros made this.
November
So that's
November 29th,
artifacts.
93.
Yeah. So, and you can look it up. You can find an online copy of it right now. But that's one of the, it's a small meeting. He personally printed that for the meeting to pitch. And that's an artifact.
If you haven't heard about our Grand Theft World community membership, here are a few of the things you've been missing. A mobile app where you can access replays of the Grand Theft World podcast and show notes. Access to the Grand Theft World community on Discord, where we crowdsource news and resources, and you can contribute to the show. The opportunity to participate in the Grand Theft World bi-weekly town hall. Exclusive content from Richard Grove, including behind-the-scenes footage and future access to unpublished material. 93 episodes of the Peace Revolution podcast, and the Grand Theft World newsletter delivered straight to your inbox each week. If you want to stay ahead of the great game, visit us at grandtheftworld.com, click or tap the button in the top right-hand corner, and join a vibrant community of researchers blazing a new path to truth. We'll see you there.